She put her paw on my shoulder. It's okay, just relax.
Under what circumstances is it constitutional for the government to discriminate against its citizens? Now, I know that statement might confuse you, puzzle you guys, but just listen. I've done an extensive amount of research on this, including looking at ebooks, journals, and websites to provide a credible speech for you guys today. Rational basis, intermediate scrutiny, and strict scrutiny are all different types of discrimination that is constitutional under the law. Today, we will first discuss the difference in the discrimination laws, and secondly, Supreme Court cases that these laws can be shown in. So first, let's kick this off with what rational basis is and an example of it used in the courts. Rational basis is the standard review by courts when determining whether there is a valid reason for discrimination in a law made by the government or if it violates the Equal Protection Clause. This test also allows discrimination if the reason is rationally related to a legitimate government interest, and that is from Cruz and Wakashis, 2021, page 155. A case this can be shown in is the 1988 case of Cadmus versus Dickinson, where Paula Cadmus argued with the school because they did not provide free transportation for the students, even though they were providing free education. The Supreme Court ultimately ruled it not a violation of the Equal Protection Clause because even though in the state's constitution, the state is required to provide free education, they are not obligated to provide free transportation. Now that you guys understand a little bit of rational basis, let's dive into intermediate scrutiny. Intermediate scrutiny is used in different discrimination or the discrimination cases that deal with gender and sex. The government must have a valid reason for the unequal treatment being shown to men or women, and it has to be directly related to an important government law. A case this can be shown in is the 1976 case of Craig versus Bourne, where Curtis Craig argued with the government that it was discrimination and a violation of the Equal Protection Clause, that women were able to purchase alcohol at the age of 18, where men had to wait till the age of 21. And the Supreme Court ultimately did rule this as unconstitutional and a violation of the Equal Protection Clause. And according to subscript law, Miriam Morshidi wrote that this standard was created because of this 1976 case. Now that you understand a little bit more about intermediate scrutiny, let's dive into our last law, which is strict scrutiny. Strict scrutiny is the highest degree in discrimination cases, and it's used in cases that deal with race, religion, ethnicity, and national origins. Strict scrutiny, the highest level of review, requires that a law be narrowly tailored to meet a compelling governmental interest, and that's from Gertzman and Shortell in 2010. A case that we can see this law being shown in is the 2003 case of Grutter versus Boilinger, where Barbara Grutter argued that it was discrimination that she was denied admission to the University of Michigan Law because of her race. Even though she had a 3.8 GPA and scored a 161 on her LSAT, she felt she was discriminated against because in the admissions process, race is considered to create a diverse student body, but ultimately the Supreme Court ruled it as not a violation of the Equal Protection Clause, or it was strict scrutiny because that wasn't the sole reason why she was denied from the school. In summary, rational basis, intermediate scrutiny, and strict scrutiny are all different types of discrimination laws that are constitutional under the law. Today we discussed the three forms of discrimination as well as examples of the Supreme Court case, as well as examples in Supreme Court cases this can be shown in. Now, I hope you guys understand a little bit more why I asked you that confusing question at the beginning and aren't so baffled, because I know it was crazy. And then lastly, I have some diagrams for you guys to look at that'll help you understand the breakdowns of my discrimination laws a little bit better. Rational basis, as long as it has a legitimate reason, rationally related, then it is considered constitutional. For strict scrutiny, as long as it has a compelling interest and narrowly tailored, then it is considered constitutional. And then this diagram breaks down rational basis. It tells you it's just for basic discrimination. Intermediate scrutiny has to do with the gender. and sex cases, and then strict scrutiny is dealing with more serious cases involving race, religion, ethnicity, and national origins.